Good weekend for us. Thanks to Eastern Michigan and their athletic department for allowing us to play at their place. The turf infield allowed us to play 4 games this past weekend, which is pretty valuable for us. We really couldn't afford to take 2 weeks off before opening Big Ten play, and so played well, pitched it well. Very well all weekend long. Defensively, we kind of came and went a little bit, but for the majority of the series, we played well defensively. Offensively, we really struggled until yesterday, and showed some signs yesterday of breaking out of it. But Friday was not great. Saturday was abysmal, to be honest with you. Credit Oakland's arms; they got 3 arms that are pretty good. And a closer who's got a nice arm as well, and so those guys really threw great, and we didn't swing it very well, and so we're going to have to make some adjustments this coming week. Supposed to play Central here on Wednesday. We'll know more tonight or tomorrow afternoon regarding our field, and we'll just kind of play that by ear. We'll see what happens, but hopefully we can open up here on Wednesday and then travel down to Ohio State for our Big Ten opener this coming weekend. And Ohio State's 3-0, played very well at Purdue last weekend, so we'll have our work cut out for us. Highlight of the weekend, obviously, no-hitter by Chase Ratarchik in a 3-2 win, I believe it was, and 2 unearned runs, but Chase really has thrown well. It was his second start of the year. His first start of the year was at Tennessee Tech, and he threw very well there as well. And he's a kid that started the Big Ten championship game for us a couple years ago, and so he's seen some things. He's been in some situations, and really starting to come into his own a little bit and really kind of blossom into the arm that we thought he had a chance to be. So really was very happy for him that we were able to get that no-hitter. He was done after the 9th. He threw about close to 130 pitches, and we weren't going to bring him back out for the 10th, so thankfully we were able to get a walk-off win in the 9th. So good weekend, though. Questions? Well, they have a turf field, and their assistant coach texted me a picture of their field this morning with I don't know how many inches of snow on it. So it is supposed to warm up down there, and I know they'll do their best to get the snow off the field. So I wouldn't be concerned about not playing down there this weekend. I think we'll be fine.
Obviously, Michigan State's very proud of their turf management program, but because of where your sport lies, is that a particular sport where going to turf may be beneficial for you?
There's a lot of pros and cons to both. I think I would prefer, obviously, to play on a natural surface. I guess maybe I'm a purist in that regard. And this year is kind of an anomaly. I think, we've really never had a problem opening up at home since I've been here, with the exception of this year. And so, while turf certainly has its benefits, again, for to be able to open up a week or 2 early, I don't. That's an awful lot of money to spend, on something that can, that may or may not happen. So I'd prefer the grass, and I think, again, it's just more of a pure form of baseball, personally. So. Yeah, it may not be feasible with the river where it is. Those are questions for people a lot smarter than me. So I'm just a baseball coach.
What did Chase have that made that game so special?
Well, he threw strikes when he needed to. He kind of labored through the first couple innings, to be honest with you. And, he was deep into counts and, was throwing a lot of pitches. I think he walked 2 and hit 1 in between the 4th and the 5th innings. And so, we were a little concerned that, he was going to start to get a little bit loose in the strike zone, and we may have to make a move. But, really came back and had a quick 6th and settled back into it. And so, that was, again, he threw strikes when he needed to throw strikes, threw 3 pitches for strikes. Toward the end of the ball game, seemed to get better and better. And, really just, very happy for him. He didn't strike many guys out, but he was able to locate within the strike zone when he needed to.
How much are you guys looking forward to getting into Big Ten play?
Yeah, really excited to start the Big Ten season. I think, having the bye week, last weekend was good for us to get, some games in the north here, although where it seems like everywhere we've been has felt like the north this year, even on our spring trip. So the original intent when we put the schedule together, though, was to hopefully get some home games in and, get ready for some weather and things like that. And so guys are chomping at the bit. I know, everybody's excited to You know, the atmosphere is better in the Big Ten. It's, you know, the excitement is there. You know, you can kind of feel it build all week long and before we get to that series. So, you know, all but 3 of us played Big Ten series last weekend. So, you know, it's our turn to get rolling this weekend.
Dick, obviously you don't get a no-hitter every day, but he wasn't the guy I would have figured if someone's going to throw one right now. What have you seen from him earlier this year that made you think he had taken another step?
Well, really, you know, we've kind of penciled him into our midweek starting role at the beginning of the year, and we're a little concerned. You know, he went out, his first appearance of the year was in Greenville, South Carolina, had a really shaky first inning, and then settled back into it. And again, he's a kid who's been around for a while. He redshirted. He's a kid that, you know, got a lot of experience a couple years ago and did start that Big Ten championship game. So, you know, looking at the guys that we have on our roster, we've got a lot of young, talented guys, but maybe not quite ready, you know, with that experience. And so Chase was kind of the guy. He's a tall, lanky kid with a good arm, and we were hoping that he'd be able to settle into that role. And you know, certainly you don't expect a no-hitter out of a kid, but at the same time, you know, his work ethic has gotten 200% better than it was since his freshman year. He understands the game a lot more. He understands what he needs to do to get guys out, and you know, it all came together for him on Saturday. And so, you know, again, hopefully it's an important role for us. And we learned that last year with the importance of those midweek games that really got us a bid to the NCAA tournament. So I think he understands, you know, he's just not one of the throwaway guys that we're running out there to see what happens. I mean, I think he understands the importance of that role and has worked toward that in the offseason. And, you know, he's been throwing well, you know, so far this year. Hopefully he continues.